We understand they're going to come after Trump in a number of ways. The other way they're going to go after him, and you hear this a lot, is with all this conflict of interest stuff. Is he going to put it in a blind trust, into a half-blind trust? Is he going to give it to his children, so forth and so on? And you have to understand that there is no requirement that he do that. And it was never considered to be unethical when past presidents continued to own their businesses or to pass them off to their children. Why is that? Well, it's because we wanted to have people who were not professional politicians. Why is it somehow ethical when people like Nancy Pelosi use insider trading as a congressperson? And remember, that was a big stink. Everybody got outraged when they found out that there was no prohibition against Congress doing insider trading, knowing that they're going to regulate to death a particular industry and then maybe selling short stock in that industry that they're about to kill, or that they're going to reward handsomely a particular company like, say, Elon Musk's company that's received over $4 billion worth of subsidies. If you got stock in one of his companies, he's going to be getting a big government handout to make him profitable. Maybe you'll buy stocks in his. So they can use that kind of insider trading like nobody else can, because as the economy becomes increasingly run by the central government can profit a lot from insider trading, the people who are creating those rules. So when that came out, people were very concerned about that. They were angry, rightfully so. And so Pelosi and company did some legislation. They put it on the books, said, no, we're going to stop insider trading. And then 9 months later, they quietly removed it. And they never really complied with it in the meantime because of the way the regulations were set up. So it's a double standard, obviously. I don't think that we want to try to penalize somebody who comes to politics directly from private life, from running successful businesses. I don't want to have a situation anymore, and I think many of you don't. I think that's the reason a lot of you voted for Donald Trump, is you're sick and tired of professional politicians, career politicians, and lawyers, and the people who, even though I said they don't stay in Washington usually, they do stay in Washington. Most of the senators and congressmen, they stay there as lobbyists. So it's a revolving door that goes on there. That's part of the corruption. That's part of the swamp that needs to be drained. And Donald Trump clarified again today, no, I really am going to drain the swamp. I think he really is going to go against it. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But still, the swamp is going to come back and try to penalize him and try to penalize anybody that is outside of politics, that is not a lawyer. They're going to try to penalize them for being involved in politics. I think it was a good thing when we had a George Washington who said 2 terms are enough. He wasn't term limited. He said 2 terms is enough. I'm going back to my business. I'm going back to my farm, just like Cincinnatus. And a lot of people made that comparison to him, the Roman emperor who said that, who went back to the plow after being a Roman emperor. So I think it's important to have people who have been successful, who know how to achieve something, and we don't need to strip them in penalty of all this. But that is going to be a tactic of the left. Believe me, they're going to come after him in multiple ways. It's just one of the many ways that they're going to attack. And as I pointed out at the very top of the program, we have this article from The Hill where the GOP is saying we're going to hold off on repealing certain Obamacare taxes. This is something that was on the Drudge Report. You have to understand the GOP never really wanted to get rid of Obamacare. They won the election a couple of years ago because people wanted to get rid of Obamacare. They said they were going to do it, just like they said they were going to control the borders, but they weren't serious about doing either one of those things. I point out over and over again, hey, they didn't have a plan to get rid of Obamacare. Donald Trump did have a plan. But if you have no plan, you're planning on not doing it. That's very, very clear. Trump's plan was to replace the mandates with markets, to replace the coercion with choice. And he had a lot of different points in his health care policy issues, very detailed for a candidate to do something like that. Typically, they keep it very broad, very general lines. No, he had point by point, I'm going to do this, this, and this. He was going to create competition. He was going to allow the insurance companies to compete across state lines. So, yeah, why wouldn't we want to do that? We're told by the establishment that we want to have open trade with all the countries, but not open trade with insurance policies within our own country, right? No. Trump said we're going to do that, and he was mocked in the debate by Marco Rubio, who said, you're going to, lines, you're talking about lines? What is this lines stuff? I mean, it's just juvenile stuff. He knew what it was about. He was hoping that you wouldn't figure it out. But also giving us information about the costs of health care providers. So giving us information, allowing us to make the choices, letting us have more of our money back in terms of tax credits, in terms of health savings accounts. So empowering us to make those decisions, giving us a choice, giving us the information to make that choice. Those are all things that could be done. But the GOP says, no, let's not get rid of those Obamacare taxes. Listen to this from the Hill. Congressional Republicans are considering holding off on repealing some of Obamacare's taxes, according to lobbyists familiar with the discussions. They say they want to keep some of these taxes in place. They say there's at least a possibility some taxes could remain to provide revenue for a replacement health care measure. I don't want some kind of replacement government-run health care measure that has to be subsidized by taxes. We don't want the government taking over that part of the economy. That's the whole point, GOP, that you don't want to acknowledge. And of course, they never had a plan, as I pointed out, but they put up Romney, who had already enacted Obamacare. So it was going to be either Obama who was going to do Obamacare or Romney who was going to do Romney Care. It was exactly the same plan, and Obama pointed that out. So the establishment said, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat in the 2012 elections, we want to have government-run health care. And they are still saying that, both the Democrats and the Republicans. That's the fight that Donald Trump has on his hands. And they go on to say, Obamacare includes a range of taxes that, along with cuts to Medicare, funded its expansion of coverage, subsidizing it, okay? And so that's a very different thing than what we're talking about in terms of letting people save their own money. You say, yeah, health insurance is important, health care is important. Let us pay for that before we send that money to Washington. Give us a tax cut so that we can take care of the most important things before we send that money to you, where you squander and waste it. They say these taxes are on both industry groups, such as taxes on health insurers and taxes on medical device companies and on people. How does that help us with health care? When you tax medical devices, it makes it more expensive for everybody. When you tax the health insurers, even though you're subsidizing them with one hand, then you tax them with the other. This is insanity. This is what we see happening over and over again. There was a report that I had from Road and Track talking about the corporate average fuel economy. And they said, look at this. 20 years ago, the roads were filled mostly with cars. Now they're mostly trucks. Why is that? Because they decided that in the name of increasing fuel efficiency, they would give lax rules to trucks, but not to cars. So now you can get a V8 engine in a car, in a truck or an SUV, but you can't get it in a car. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
InfoWars has more than 15 YouTube channels and about 3 million subscribers. Our main channel has 1.854 or 1,854,000 plus subscribers. Now, they've been gaming the system for a long time to shut down nationalistic or patriotic media, saying we're right-wingers, saying we're extremists. Well, it doesn't matter who we are. We have a right to free speech, don't we? As long as we don't violate the rules. Well, now Zuckerberg has come out and said he's going to restrict conservative news like Communist China does, calling it fake news. And Google, that owns YouTube, has announced, and they've done it now 2 weeks ago, that they're going to basically make you click the bell in your notifications. We're going to show you how to do that, or you won't get all the channels that you've subscribed to, and you won't get the videos. Now, why are they doing this? It's more than just censoring. They want you to see the videos that they feed you below and beside the videos you're looking at that are corporately sponsored, so they make more money. They're taking the you out of YouTube. So we're in this information war, and it's more important than ever that you promote the videos, that you like the videos, and that you send them on to others. Because the answer to the attempt to shut us down and restrict free speech that's openly now happening is for us to redouble our efforts. We're winning the culture war as true classical liberals that made this country great. We're restoring the Renaissance. So again, if you want to get our videos, so you can make your decision whether you want to see them or not. After all, that's why you subscribed. YouTube's had this since they started 12 years ago or whatever it was. And they're fundamentally changing it so you don't get it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is promoting fake news and trash news and establishment news. It's killing real independent news. But we the people, by taking action, can break the back of this system. So please Click on the bell so you get the notifications and so you get in your feed the videos and channels you've subscribed to. I'm Alex Jones for Infowars.com.